In this demo, what we're going to show is the degreasing process in preparing your mesh to have emulsion applied to it. You see, when the mesh is new, it still has contaminants. We must remove those contaminants from the mesh prior to coating. If you do not do that, the emulsion will fail and you'll have to start the process over. Now, what you're going to need for this obviously is your frame with your mesh stretched, ready to go. You're going to need degreaser, and the degreaser can be found here in the clean sink, either in the sink itself or there's a basket around the corner on the side. You'll also need the scrub pad. Besides these two, you're going to need hot water using the spray wand. You follow the wash wand up, you'll find the hot water, you turn it on. Now we have to use hot water for this process only. Do not use cold water, because the cold water will not work with the degreasing agent that we're using. What we're going to do is we're going to apply hot water on both sides of our mesh. Turn it around. We're going to spray that side down as well. Just like that. Now, we're going to take and apply 3 to 4 sprays of degreaser on each side. We're going to take our scrub pad and we're going to take this and we're going to build a thick lather of foam onto our frame and mesh, like so. Once you have that thick layer on the one side, you're going to do it on the other side. Now, speaking of other sides, the flat side of your screen is called print side. The indented side of your screen is called squeegee side. And that'll be important to know here in just a moment when we show you the next part of this demo. Now, what we're going to do is we have to allow this to stand for about 1 minute. What we want to do is see the majority of the bubbles break. You can see them breaking already. And then we're going to be rinsing this off. Now, why degrease in the first place? Because it's going to remove the contaminants that are on the mesh. It picked up oils from people handling it, packing materials in the shipment of this product, which came, in our instance, from Germany. And so we have to get all of that off so that our emulsion will adhere properly to our mesh. Okay, this is the great part about video. You don't have to stand around for a minute waiting. We've had this sit now for about a minute, and you can see the majority of the bubbles have burst. There's still some there. But what you're going to notice is the mesh has kind of a milky white haze to it. That's what we're looking for when we properly degrease. Now, we mentioned earlier about the print side and the squeegee side. Does it make a difference when you're rinsing this? It does. We want you to start on squeegee side first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the back of the sink. I'm going to turn on our hot water. We're going to start at the top and we're going to rinse down. We want to flush the contaminants out of the mesh as quickly as possible. You can see the degreaser running out, and that's what's carrying the contaminants away. Now, we're going to turn it, and we're going to do the exact same thing on print side. Now, the reason we finish print side is there's a gap between your frame and your mesh here, all the way around. We want to make sure that we thoroughly rinse that, because the contaminants get stuck in there. And we want to make sure that that's all thoroughly rinsed. So we're going to rinse this down. And you notice I waited for the bottom till last. I'm going to really give that a good rinse over. And we have it. Now, once we have the degreaser rinsed out of the mesh, what we need to do is we need to air dry the screen. Now, we could let it stand. It would take about a half hour for it to thoroughly dry. But what we're going to use here is compressed air right next to our sink. We have a yellow handle here. In order to turn the air hose on, this handle has to be straight up. Our air nozzle is right here. We have our air, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to hold our frame at a 45-degree angle, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to air dry our frame off. It doesn't do us any good to dry the mesh if the water's just going to run back from your frame. Now we can go ahead and we can air dry. matter of a few seconds, dried our screen. Now, once we have this completely dry, the degreasing process is complete. I want to caution you just on one thing. Whatever you do, after you've dried your mesh, do not touch it with your hands. Your hands have oils, greases, lotions, etc. If you touch it and then you coat it, you're not going to notice right away, but you've damaged the emulsion, and your stencil later on in the process will fail and you'll have to start over. So after degreasing, make sure you don't touch this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video on coating.